Hi, welcome to the Dial Podcast. I'm Jake Von Duren. I'm here with Lance Epler.
Lance Romance coming at you from the studio here in Vancouver, Washington.
Hey, Lance.
Hi.
To his right, very close right, Mr. Evan Price.
I like our intro music now. That's very jazzy. I like it. And also, the only problem with us being live on YouTube now is that when I ask, what are we drinking today? There was a mystique, like a mystery to that before. So we should almost hide the drinks prior to that question.
We're all drinking Kirkland because
we always say Lance was drinking some sort of hard alcohol, and now it's like,
now nobody's gonna believe me. And now you can see, if I could just take it, you see like there. And then I could just take it out and be like, see, we're drinking this. And that's all right. Matt, what are you drinking?
Same thing as you guys. Kirkland.
Oh, we're all drinking Kirkland, even though
Sparkling
Matt's not
water.
even here.
Your beard even looks bushier than last Friday. Did you trim it to look? It's looking like more gray than it did
it's
before.
Growing.
It is.
Every night is an extra foot long, and
Code word,
So.
max headroom.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That was fast.
We're there.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Matt's microphone. He's going to switch that over, but he's going to switch that right now so I can say, coming to us live over the interwebs, Mr. Matt LeGrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? How do I sound? Better? Worse?
Better,
Same?
yeah. I don't know.
At least it's not max headrooming, so it's all good.
You sound great, man.
Yeah.
Must be that.
All right,
LED.
I'm unboxing for you guys. On air unboxing.
What do you want?
This is a bike computer.
What bike computer?
Oh,
I don't have a good knife within reach, so I'm using scissors, which is not.
If you stab yourself on live YouTube, we're going to go viral if you stab yourself, Matt. No pressure, but go for it.
Do it. This is have you ever heard of a bike computer company called Brighton, USA? I don't know.
No.
There's a Brighton,
Anybody?
Massachusetts.
I think I've heard of it. Yeah, I've heard of it.
Have you? Okay. They have 4 or 5 different bike computers. So I'm going to test one for the channel.
Try these out.
Nice.
This is the 750. Yeah.
As
We'll
opposed
check
to-
this out.
Good times.
Nice.
Lance can do his intro while
5 minutes later, Matt's going to have this unboxing.
All right, backpedal boys. Lance, you raced this past weekend. You get to go because I don't think anybody else did.
I did. I lined up and did some more racing this week.
Nice.
Last week we talked about I did this mountain bike race up in the Tacoma area. I
You
raced
won,
the
right?
Cat 250. Wait,
I did see. Oh!
Little flex.
I'm gonna flex.
Is that a what?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, that's heavy.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that is heavy.
Made up.
It is not.
But look, it says I'm the Cat 250 Plus winner right on the back. Anyway,
Printed.
I'm gonna wear it. They give this to you a whole week later. They don't give it to you at the event. I don't know. That's their COVID rules. They can't have award ceremonies. I don't know. They just said,
you know what? I bet you it's a
pick
way
it
to
up.
get you to come back and race again.
Yeah, it
If
probably
you want
is
your medal,
true.
come back and get it next
It's
week.
not even a medal. It's a wood.
It's
a woodle.
You won the
woodle.
wood.
I
You
won
won
the
the
wood.
woodle. Yeah.
Anyway,
The gold woodle.
You could probably change that into a 1. You just get someone that's good with the Dremel.
right.
Yeah.
Like Cat 1.
Because it's more important what the actual medal says than the results on the website.
So anyway, I
No.
did.
No.
Do you want to share your computer, Matt, before I go any further, embarrassing myself?
This is what the box looks like.
That looks a lot like.
But
a
please
Garmin.
do go on and embarrass yourself.
It's what you'd rather have anyway, I'm sure. So this week's race was out in this place called Ancient Lakes. It's beautiful. It's in central Washington, not far from Ellensburg and Wenatchee, Washington. So right in the center part of
I
Washington
know where
State.
Wenatchee is. Yeah.
It's in the middle of nowhere.
That is the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was literally like a 4.5-hour drive.
That's
for
a
me to
beautiful part of the
get
state,
there.
though.
Yeah, it was very pretty. The course, it was, I think I raced 21 miles and very kind of difficult single track. Lots of big, huge lava rocks
Oh,
and
God.
tight corners and tight turns. And this week I decided to cat up and race the Cat 1.
So you did finally succumb to I was seeing the pressure on social media on Lance to cat up.
Winning is fun, but it was I shouldn't have won by that much. It was embarrassing. I was sandbagging. Yeah.
Well, okay, but Cat 2, I mean, if you're winning a Cat 2 race by that much, it's not like you would expect to be sandbagging a Cat 2 race, though. So, yeah.
Anyway, so I lined up with the Cat 1s.
Uh,
I took second.
I'm proud of you, dude.
Wow, nice
You
work,
are sure
dude.
sandbagging and cat too.
No joke. Lance and I were having these conversations, and my sentiment is I would much rather finish in like the top 10 of a Cat 1 race or
Oh,
even top
yeah.
5 of a Cat 1 race as opposed to like crushing everybody
Crushing
in
the Cat 2.
And
Yeah.
you
That's
finish
no joke
second,
racing.
dude. There's so much more value to that than crushing everybody in the
Yeah.
Cat 2s. And that's just a testament to how strong you are right now.
Where's
Dude.
your
Or how strong
road?
you've been,
Where's
yeah.
your road fitness going to be this spring? Do you think?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, my legs are feeling good.
Pretty strong.
I don't know how long this peak will last if I'm at a
We
peak.
got to do
Who
a ride
knows?
together, and I got to get embarrassed by you. We need to do this here
Oh,
soon.
dude.
Did you not get your Strava notification? Well, actually, Lance isn't going to be here this weekend, so
I'm
Oh,
racing
there's
again.
a Saturday ride, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a Saturday ride.
I've got 3
Oh,
rides
yeah,
already on the
something really
calendar for
boring
this
now.
week.
Yeah,
I
you
know.
did load it up, Jake.
Got up this morning and banged out a few rides.
Yeah.
Just getting prepped and ready to go for this time change.
When
thing
does the
we
time
go.
change happen? Is
2
that the-
weeks from Saturday night.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Not
Saturday.
that
Okay.
anybody's counting. Yeah,
So.
but yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, the cool thing was, I did take second in the Cat 150s.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up taking actually 10th overall in the whole race. So
That's solid.
that includes all
The
the
open categories,
all the
yeah.
open categories. Yeah.
Okay.
So I raced well. The crazy thing was the course was just ripe for sidewall cuts because so many lava rocks and you were just bouncing from
yeah.
like rock to rock and like tight corners. You really had to like flow good in order to
Yeah.
and that stuff I like love that stuff. So that kind of bike handling stuff.
I'd be last.
I pedal struck so hard so many times, and I'm always like careful like when I'm pedaling and I'm seeing rocks so that I don't pedal struck. I pedal struck so hard one time it threw me and my bike 3 feet off the trail and dislodged my other foot. I almost like flew off the bike. I pedal struck so hard.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Pedal
so
okay? Well, that's what's nice about
Yeah,
those
that's gonna be the
SPDs.
good
They're
question. Is
pretty.
your clips okay?
just freaking it was I don't know. I mean
You
I
ride egg
just-
beaters, right?
I just
No, he's on
I'm
SPD
SPDs.
Shimano.
Oh,
SPDs.
okay, gotcha.
I just cursed loudly and clipped back in and kept going. And so it just
I feel like that would have destroyed an egg beater then. Yeah, that's why I ride my cross bike. But
it
That's pretty tough.
Are they pretty
strikes. They're pretty good until they're not. I've broken one pair.
Okay.
We'll actually take the back 2.
I've
had one
definitely never
that
ridden on
slid
intense
off of,
lava rocks.
like literally slid off of the spindle, and that
Yeah.
was just because I beat the crap out of it. And I had another one where it broke the spring, that the whole tensioner system for
God.
clipping in broke in a 50-mile race about halfway through. I had to pedal for about 15 miles in that thing, but
Not good.
I was fully prepared to it not work properly after I struck so hard. I thought, oh my gosh, I broke something, but it kept going.
It's awesome.
So-
Two consecutive weekends of racing now, right? We're gonna make it 3 out of 4 here. No, wait, 4 out of 4.
To be honest with you, there's potential race every weekend for the next like 7 weeks for me.
wow.
A lot of mountain biking.
Yeah. I'm gravel racing next week
Okay.
in Northern California, the Shasta Gravel Hugger.
Yeah.
And then there's a mountain bike race, then there's another mountain
Mount
bike
Shasta.
race.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mount
that's-
Shasta.
yeah.
Yeah.
Matt, you making some progress on that thing over there?
He's beeping
Yeah,
away.
this is what it looks like. You hear
It
some, did you guys
looks-
hear some beeping?
Yeah.
It looks a whole lot like
You
a
know what's
Wahoo or a
interesting?
Garmin.
You know what's interesting is it comes with a heart rate monitor and a speed cadence monitor, or 2. I can't tell what all it comes with.
Oh wow.
I'm thoroughly impressed that it comes with a lot of extra stuff, which I think is smart for them to do because, like, these heart
They
rate
gotta set
monitors
themselves
probably
aside.
cost, yeah, right? They need to
Yeah.
set themselves up, as someone different than Wahoo or Garmin, and it's like the heart rate monitor probably cost them $10 maximum to make, and it's like, hey, I get an extra heart rate monitor with this
Yeah.
computer, and then the speed cadence. I don't know how much those things cost to make, but probably not much. So, I mean, hey.
Power to
We'll
them.
see.
cool.
It'll probably connect to the global positioning system that's in space and tell me
Yeah.
how fast I go, which
Cool.
is
You know what
extremely
you're doing
fast,
with that.
Lance.
Yes.
Can it keep up with you, Matt LeGrand?
No.
The other ride I want to talk
This
about
is a-
on my way out there, on my way to drive out to do this race, I stopped at a little place called it was right near Biggs, Oregon, which is like in between, just east of the Dalles. And it's a place called the Deschutes River Trail. It's where the Deschutes River comes out into the Columbia River. There is a 20-mile gravel road that goes up that canyon that was just phenomenal. just gorgeous.
That's not that far away either.
I saw pictures from that, and I was like, "How far is that? Can I drive there today?"
It's
it
an
would look
out-
so
yeah.
pretty.
It's
When you originally said that was in New Zealand, I had to look twice. I was like, did Lance seriously jump on a plane
No.
without telling anybody and go to New Zealand?
is Middle Zealand.
Middle Zealand, my bad.
It's a joke from the Lego movie. It's a quote from the Lego movie.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Why would I not
Yeah,
know that?
why would you not know that? Middle Zealand. So yeah, I went out there. It's like 18 miles out and 18 miles back. Of course, I'm racing the next day, so I didn't want to go the whole way.
Yeah.
So I just went like 12 miles out and turned around and came 12 miles back. I took all the KOMs on the way out.
Oh, yeah.
Because the wind was like 11 miles an hour.
I'm sure those are all wind-assisted KOMs, though,
Oh, yeah.
in that region.
Those
Yeah.
three.
When the wind's blowing, you got to go.
I
Yeah.
wasn't
It's all
even
legit.
I wasn't planning on going that hard, but I'm like, oh, the wind's at my back. I'm on my new gravel bike, and I'm just like, I'm gonna see how fast this thing will go.
Did you have live segments running?
No, I didn't even know
So
where
you
the
got back
segments
and
were.
just had this whole treasure trove
Yeah.
of KOMs.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I did, however, kill a bird.
What?
Wait,
Was the bird asking for it,
This
though? Or
is-
was it?
I didn't mean to. I am flying down this road. I came over a little rise, and freaking bird just went right into my rear wheel. And I looked behind me.
You're really lucky it didn't go in your front wheel and flip the bike, because that has actually happened. Like, I've had people who have massacred a squirrel before and flipped their
and
bicycle.
flipped their bike.
Yeah.
Jay,
I once had a squirrel escape through my spokes, and my entire life flashed before my eyes as it was going through there.
Mine did not escape.
Oh, my God. Oh,
Yeah.
Just got this one slow squirrel.
I looked behind me. It was a puff of feathers. When I came back through, I looked, and I'm like,
Well,
yep,
maybe he made it. Did he make it?
He did not make
He
it.
did not make it.
It was a ficker. This is
Why
what
would you know that? Why would you know that?
No, I didn't. This is Hannel. I took a picture
Yeah.
of
Oh,
it.
Hannel would know. Yeah.
I took a
it,
picture
it
of
was
it.
discussed online.
It was discussed
all
on my
discussed on
Strava
Strava.
ride.
Doesn't Hannel have a zoo too at his
He
house?
does.
Basically,
Yes.
yeah. So he would know exactly what that. Yeah, he probably knows.
Well, he was saying this because
genotype it is.
I guess this type of bird, ficker, tried to break into his dad's house and was pounding on the door of
gotcha.
the whole time, and and so his dad was really angry at this ficker. And
Well, then
wanted it
hopefully
dead.
that was the ficker and you got it. So
Well,
yeah.
So I killed a bird. I'm sorry. Other than that, I rode bikes every day.
Good on you.
Yeehaw.
How many days in a row?
I'm at 219.
Is it 219 already? No, you can't be that because you're 19 ahead of me, and I'm at like 194, 195
right.
today.
I rode this morning already, and it was
I think I'm at 4.
4 days in a row.
3
I'm
maybe.
at 213.
Okay, this is stupid. You need to stop.
213.
We're not going to stop until you stop.
I need to stop. It's stupid.
It is very stupid. Evan, where can I get some trek darts?
I want to just like give him an actual training plan so he can get absurdly fast, because with the consistency and strength he has right now, if you were even somewhat structured in the presentations, you'd be so fast right now.
Yeah, I'm just
You
riding bikes.
already are
It's so freaking
fast.
fun. I'm just
Yeah.
having fun riding bikes.
You can still have fun and get super fast.
Take a day off and go do some
Fun's
fun
for
with
your
wife.
70s, man. You're going to be riding till you're like 110, so.
I wake up every day and I'm like, when am I going to fit my ride in today? Let me think.
awesome.
How am I going to make this? Anyway.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
let me
Yeah.
check my calendar. Oh, wait, there's nothing going on except for a ride. Let's go for a bike ride.
That's good. Exactly.
Evan, back pedal.
Okay, I got about 2 minutes before I got to bump out and then bump back in late. So I'm gonna close and open. So I'm gonna do my back pedal as a stark comparison to the fun that Lance is having on bikes. On Saturday, I made millimeter adjustments to my time trial bike fit, and then took it out and tried to hang in the Aero position for an hour, and then jumped out and ran the same route that I usually do on my tempo runs. And yeah, that was basically it.
No, that sounds terrible.
I know.
Evan.
And
But
then-
are you getting faster? You're actually doing it periodization style.
I'm doing a lot of
which
yeah.
is probably much smarter than what I'm doing.
I am trying to be as fit as possible in 5 weeks, so that hopefully Texas 70.3 is going to be a very fast race for me. But
Remind us again when that race is.
that is April 11th
It's coming up soon.
in the state of Texas.
Just
so
outside
hopefully
of a
it's
month
happening.
away.
I know. I'm hoping it's going to happen here. Training's all coming together, but here's the problem with really when you really hone in on triathlon training, it is so boring. I would never like if somebody came up to me and they're like, I'm 26 and really would like to try and grab a pro card here, but I really just enjoy the sport. I'd be like, good, don't do it then, because you're gonna, if you have a job on top of it, it's gonna become super not enjoyable for a
Doesn't
second.
become fun.
No, it's definitely not YouTube channel worthy of what you see out there. But yeah, outside of that, I am trying to plan some fun road bike rides, and I think I do want to try to race road at the end of May. Was that when that race is coming up, Jake? Those two in the same weekend?
The Vance Creek race?
Yeah, was that the end of May?
It's somewhere around there. They're
Okay.
like back-to-back weekends. I'd have to go double-check. Lance would know. I think he's registered for both of them.
I'm registered not for Vance Creek. I'm on the waiting list. That is May 16th.
Okay. There's a waiting list?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they've filled the race, but they're taking a waiting list.
Gotcha.
Real quick, Lance, if you look on the monitor, there's a couple comments on YouTube for you. You
All
can
right,
read those
folks.
and respond accordingly.
out.
Evan, maybe we'll see you in a little bit.
Yep, sounds like we'll jump back in at 3:30 if we're still on.
Yep, go have fun training those kids. Hey, I'll let you come back to that in just a second here, Lance. Matt, you want to backpedal for us?
Sure. I have found myself like slipping into a really good schedule. I think, actually it is large in part to Evan because he's kind of helping me schedule some stuff. Let's wait to say nice things about Evan until he leaves. Has he left?
He's
Or is he
gone.
not? 'Cause-
He's out of the
He's
lab.
out.
Working with
Okay,
the
good.
kids.
Yeah, I mean, he's got me on a very mild running schedule where I'm running 3 days a week, but it's like run 2 miles or run 3 miles and do some strides. It's very, very tame. And then I'm swimming 3 days a week because that's what I can get in with the pool closures. And then I am biking Zwift mostly for the rest of the days. Although I will say that this past weekend, Lance, I'm really taking a liking to your mountain bike. I call it yours, even though it's not yours
It's
anymore.
not mine anymore. It is definitely yours.
But I'm loving it because I'll take it, I'll ride over to cross country practice and just cruise around and find cool places there's basically like some country fields that have like horse tracks and stuff back there behind the high school that none of you guys know about.
Yeah, you're right.
It would be actually okay. It would actually be okay on a cyclocross bike as well. So we could do some fun stuff back there because we have permission to use those fields. So I'll take you guys someday if you want.
It's a good bike.
Excellent. Cool.
Yep.
I guess I'll
Good
backpedal
times.
real quick. Just another very fun week. It was mostly Zwift, Monday through Friday, and then I did squeeze in a ride out in Boise, Idaho.
Boise? Boise, Idaho? What were you doing in Boise?
Is it Boise or is it Boise?
It's Boise.
Boise? Why
Boise.
do you say Boise?
It's Boise. It's Boise. Boise.
So, like, you mostly say it when you omit a Z in there. It's like Boise.
I have no idea which
So
one it is.
I was trying that out on my wife. She didn't know I was trying it out while we were gone this past weekend. And finally, after like the third or fourth time, because I was trying to get a little bit egregious with it, she finally called me out. She's like, "Why do you keep saying Boise?" I'm like, "Oh, it's just having fun with you." That's what the locals say. No, isn't that how they say it?
I can't remember. I knew at one point, but I've forgotten many more details than just that in
right,
my
so-
life.
My wife and I were driving back from Utah, from Salt Lake City, and Lance recommended a couple routes out there, and he gave me this nice little 22, 23-mile loop that was, it was basically about 3,000 feet of climbing, maybe 2,800 something like that. So I'm like, yeah, that looks perfect.
Yeah.
I've got about an hour and a half to kill, and I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do this ride, and I'm going to, stretch out my legs so we can get back in the car. We can keep driving. I start climbing. I'm like, this is spectacular. I get about half the way up the climb, and I'm like, this is going to be interesting. It starts getting icy, and then it turned to snow, thankfully. And I'm riding on some almost bald Continental, what are those? The Terra Speed tires.
Are
They're
you on your gravel bike?
gravel bike, yeah.
Yeah.
And those tires on the ice, not so good, but the snow, I don't understand those tires. It's a full-on like paradox here of like they should be slipping on everything. They were just biting into the snow like crazy. So I just kept trucking up, and I finally stopped when I got to somewhere between 6 and 8 inches of snow that I was plowing through that nobody else had ridden on. I'm like,
This is
I should
too much.
probably turn around. It's getting to be a little chilly here too. I couldn't feel my hands and my feet because I brought the wrong gloves, and I didn't put shoe covers on because it was nice down where we started. But oh my gosh, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
The views up there were just spectacular. I stopped and took a couple pictures, and I'm like, wow, this place is just spectacular. So I need to go back there and ride maybe this summer.
Boise's like halfway between Portland and Salt Lake, and so it's always a good spot to stop for a pit stop.
Gotcha.
Pit ride.
So Jake, what the heck were you doing? Because I saw you like flew out and drove back.
Yeah, do the math on that one. Brought a vehicle back to town, so we
Is
we
it
had
like
a little,
another adventure van?
Yeah, we had a
Are
little
you
adventure van.
guys?
We had this little adventure van that we purchased back in October. It was awesome, but after we started running it through its paces, it ended up being just a little bit too small for our family. It was spectacular. We loved it, just a little bit too small. Found a buyer, didn't lose a dime on it. Literally, not even after paying registration, didn't lose a dime on it. And then we went out, well, after looking for God knows how long, we found one in Idaho from this guy, this really nice guy, but
Ogden.
It was in Ogden. It's this German, like, businessman that's like got dual citizenship between here and Germany, and he's just got this very, I'm not going to say his name, but he's got this very, very German name. I'm like, oh gosh, I mean, I hope he doesn't like say something about my last name and start asking me about Germany, because he's that German. Very wealthy dude, and he had this thing for 5 years, and it only had 14,000 miles on it, so he hardly used it. But he's like, he collects cars, and he's got multiple very, very, very nice cars. But anyway, long story short, he's like, yeah, I sold. It's like, I wanted to sell this because I just bought the Winnebago version of the Sprinter.
Yes.
He's like, yeah, it was like $200-something thousand, so I needed to. I've just decided to go ahead and sell this one because it doesn't fit in my garage. That's got, no joke, like 15 cars in it. So. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So he made us a screaming deal on it. We flew down there because you can't find these things anywhere, especially at the 4-wheel drive. And if you do find them, they're going for a premium. And long story short, we just got lucky, and so we flew down there, picked it up, and drove it back.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was great.
So you flew down there and you brought a bike. You flew a bike down.
Yeah, because that's what you do, right?
Yeah, I mean, but you wanted to probably fly multiple bikes down, and it was gravel. You chose gravel.
I chose gravel because you can ride that bike anywhere.
I took Jake and his wife to the airport to drop them off, and I don't know if Rebecca didn't tell you this. When you went back in the house, Rebecca looked at me and she goes, "I should have just sent you to go with Jake." She goes, "You should be going with Jake to Utah. I shouldn't be going with him. This is something you two should have done." And I'm like,
that would have been fun, but
I'm like, no, you need this is something for your family. You need to check this out too.
Yeah,
so.
she had a blast though. We really did. It was fun. We drove for a good day and a half. That's what you do when you drive back from Salt Lake, right?
Yeah.
And we had a blast. It didn't feel like we were in there the whole time. It was just like we're just kind of cruising along. It was like a blink of an eye. We were back.
It.
I was channeling my inner Lance Hepler. So, so anyway, that was my weekend. Oh, and I did another little gravel ride by myself yesterday, which was nice. It was just a beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest. Big blue skies, about 50 degrees out. It was perfect. So
lovely.
Yeah. All right, let's do a little Patreon update. We don't have any new Patreons, but what were you going to say?
Let's talk about these comments that have come up on
Let's
on
put a
YouTube
pin in the
Live.
Patreon stuff for just a moment while Lance addresses these comments that are coming through.
Okay, the first one is from Austin. He said, "Geez, Lance, watch out for critters in the road." Yeah, sorry, that bird must have had a hard couple of months because it was depressed and not feeling well and straight up committed suicide into my rear wheel. I could not stop it. Scott mentions, he says, we all have jobs, or we would all be as fast as Lance. Love you, Lance. Yeah, sorry, I suck. I'm aware of that. Scott asked how Paige did at her race because she was registered to do the same race that I did.
Did she go?
She did not go.
Gotcha.
She had some issue and so didn't end up going to do the race.
I know that she was traveling back from North Carolina, was it?
She's back.
Yeah, well, I know, but she just got back, and
Yeah.
there's some stuff that came up that she said, so maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Something like that. And then Mama Dove said, "It's Boise with a Z sound,
Boise.
fellas.
Okay.
Boise.
Okay. I'm just going off of what Lance told me once, like
Boise.
Boise?
Boise.
Okay, so we're going to drop the Boise?
No, Boise. It's Boise.
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 Okay.
Enough of freaking Idaho.
All right, back to Patreon updates. We don't have any new Patreons this week, but we've got quite a few names that are stacking up in this little jar here. Real quick, just so that we're all on the up and up, was John Hatfield, our latest and greatest Patreon, added to the jar?
Yes, he was.
All right.
I added John Hatfield.
All right, so we are going to do a whole grab bag out of this box that I've got with all kinds of cool stuff in there, and we'll let you choose what you want out of that. And there's water bottles, there are socks, there are neck buffs, there are lights, all kinds of stuff. So the winner this week will get to pick whatever they want, and that winner is going to be, as Lance pulls it out right now, drum roll please, Champ Bailey.
Gosh dang it.
Draw again. Our own
Until Champ Bailey tells us who
Outs
he
themselves.
actually is.
or she. Yep, we've got a Champ Bailey and the real Champ Bailey, our patrons. This person would be. You're kidding me. Look at that and tell me who it is.
The real Champ Bailey. Gosh dang it.
They're trying to take that away from Rob Buck, huh? All right, drum roll for the third time's the charm drawing.
This is
Drawing.
very anticlimactic.
Oh, Chris Hitchcock won again.
Chris Hitchcock, he just won 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
3
He
weeks
stopped
ago.
by the lab and he picked up his goodies, and he's
Guess what? He gets to come by again.
Yeah.
Because I'm not drawing another name because Champ Bailey won twice.
well, those were all legitimate. You shook it up. They're all folded up. We can't tell who anybody is. So, Chris Hitchcock, winner, chicken dinner.
Love
Thank
it.
you. All right, for those who are listening who would like to become a patron, you can go to dialedpodcast.com and you can click on the Patreon link right there. That will take you through to the Patreon page where you can choose a Patreon that works best for you. Stay tuned for some updates to the Patreon options here in the next couple weeks. I'm going to add a few new things and maybe try some other cool stuff to kind of give our patrons a little bit more bang for their buck and their support. So appreciate that. So cool.
I like that.
Yep. Anything else you want to add to that?
No.
No? Just a big thank you?
Yes.
All right.
Big thank you.
Cool. This is just me trying to stall real quick because I'm looking for
You're just
something.
stalling because you're looking for the right button to push.
Yeah, dang it.
He's still-
Champ Bailey.
There
Top
it is.
five? I think he's in the top five discussion. I mean, I'm not just going to go out crazy
Hall
and
of
say top
Famer?
three. Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
Champ Bailey. Champ Bailey by Champ Bailey.
Champ Bailey!
Champ Bailey here.
What's up, Champ?
It's me. We have had the start of the spring classic season back in Europe. So this is kind of an exciting time in bike racing because these spring classics are all big one-day races. They're generally extremely difficult with very long and somewhere in Europe. Correct?
Nice.
Yes. So there were 2 races, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. Saturday's race is called the Omloop Het Nieuwsblad. I butchered it. And this race was actually won by David Ballerini from DeCunic Quickstep.
Really?
Yes, Jake is thrilled about that. It's kind of exciting. I believe Alaphilippe helped. I'm crisscrossing race memories at this moment.
Evan was dropping all kinds of stuff on you that seemed it was backwards. Now he kind of
He's
causing
got
you
me
to question
all-
your
he's got me
yeah.
all messed up. So Alaphilippe was there. He helped protect him and lead him out and whatever. And Ballerini won of Quickstep.
Yippee!
Yeah, so that's exciting. Sunday's race is called KBK, according to Evan, who has now stepped out to teach some class or something. He's teaching water aerobics
And underwater BB stacking, yeah.
to purple-haired grandmas. Okay, no, that's not true. Kern, Brussels, Kern. So exciting race, big long race. Matthew Vanderpool was in the race. He wasn't really planning on going really strong. He initially went into the race saying, I'm just going to be there to work for my sprinter, but then he got in the break
Oh, wow.
and was in the break for 80 kilometers.
Wow.
But they were caught with 2K
2K to go?
to go.
Okay.
So he did not win. It was actually won by Mads Pedersen.
Okay.
Former world champion, won, which was fantastic for Mads Pedersen. He's from the Trek Segafredo team, and kind of crazy, Tom Pidcock took 3rd.
Really?
Yeah.
Cyclocross Tom Pidcock.
Cyclocross Tom Pidcock, who is racing the road season for
Ineos.
Ineos.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, Ineos.
Wow.
And
Anybody else notable from the Ineos team at that race that you know of off the top of your head, Lance?
Champ.
Champ?
Ineos doesn't really focus on the classics.
Do you think they just threw him out there to go get some race experience?
I think so. Well, but he's like a cyclocross stud, so
Yeah.
they're like classics are right down your alley. So I guess they threw him in there.
Go catch
So.
that Vanderpool guy, right?
Yeah. That's all I know. Champ Bailey out.
Champ Bailey
wait.
out. Are you sure?
No, there was something that Evan sent us that I have now since forgotten. He did send it to me.
We're on fire today,
yeah,
folks.
we are.
It's about the. Is it about the guy that rode across the Atlantic?
Okay, thank you. What do you know about it, Matt?
I don't know anything about it. Evan is supposed to be here.
Evan's supposed to be here.
Not rode as in
Here's
like
his
rode a
mic.
bike, but rode, R-O-W-E-D.
He rode a boat across the Atlantic. So this is endurance news from Evan Price.
That does not surprise me one bit.
He rode a boat across the Atlantic Ocean in 70 days. All the way across the Atlantic Ocean.
Why?
That's what I said.
For 70 days?
But people would say, why would you ride a bike for 213 days in a row?
Because that's fun, because you get to do it for an hour or two each day, or maybe 3 or 4, depending upon the day. In the boat, what's he doing? Like, did they have like a boat that was there that he could get off and he could stop and take a nap and they would just anchor or something? What's going on?
I don't know any details. This is from the mind of Evan Price.
Yeah, it definitely 100% there. Sorry, Evan, we love you, but come on, man.
But I'm confused. Very confused.
All right.
Champ Bailey out.
Champ here. I'm all about having fun. You know, get a couple of cocktails in me, start a fire in someone's kitchen, maybe go to SeaWorld, take my pants off.
Thanks, Champ. Appreciate that. Anything else you guys want to cover before we jump into our topic of the day? Bueller?
It's all quiet on the triathlon front. You know, indoor track for running stuff, but you guys don't care about that.
Is there anything that you need to chime in?
exciting.
No.
No? All right.
No, nothing huge.
How's cross country going, Matt?
Oh, well, here in southern Washington, we've got cross country season in full swing. Even though it's normally a fall sport, we're doing it now for some odd reason. So
The same thing
we're
with
doing
football. The same thing with football in
Yep,
the state
football.
of Washington. We're having football now,
Yes.
which is normally fall. Yeah,
Camus-
which is strange.
Camus lost to Union
Thank goodness.
last weekend.
Big loss right there.
What?
Huh?
Nothing.
Lance, you are about to be in trouble, sir.
Hey, my brother-in-law works at Union High School. I have to be a Union fan. Sorry,
No, you
Matt.
don't.
Yeah,
No.
there's an asterisk next to
I'll
this.
get you some Camus gear.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, cool. Let's jump into our topic for the day. Today, the question is, are you a poorly behaved cyclist or triathlete? So we're going to kind of do this in a hot seat format.
Oh, boy.
Where we really haven't compared notes, but we're going to build a top 10 list of basically that we can compile to show you, to quantify whether or not you think you're possibly a bad or poorly behaved cyclist. What are you doing over the lunch? You're distracting
I'm making
me.
notes to myself.
Gotcha.
I just came up with another topic. It just hit me, and so I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it.
Okay. So the question is, how many will we be at 10? Will it's 10-ish? Will we get over 10? I don't know. But we're going to come up with this list that you have to ask yourself, am I a poorly behaved cyclist or triathlete? Lance, since you got a big, giant, growing list over there, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Okay. Okay, the first thing that comes to mind, if you're a poorly behaved cyclist, do you blow untimely snot rockets?
That's poorly behaved.
That can be poorly behaved.
That's just being inconsiderate. So, yeah, that's a poor behavior for sure. I mean,
Correct.
usually when we're doing team rides, if you've got to blow a snot rocket, you wait until you rotate to the back. Or if there's no cars coming, you go all the way out to the center line or even further and you blow away from
Away
the team.
from people. Yeah.
I've ridden with certain people that will just, no matter where they're at, they blow the snot rocket.
blow it.
If you're right behind them, you're going to get sprayed, and that sucks, especially in this day and age. You don't want that ever.
If there's somebody right behind me and I need to do that, I put my arm and hand out kind of like a
glove that's going to catch maybe
like a snot block. It's a snot blocker.
catching like about 15% of it.
Maybe catch a little. I guess this makes me a poorly behaved cyclist. You know this is all about me anyway.
Awesome. Yeah, I think the same can be said about like spitting or just any kind of bodily fluids that are coming off you. Yeah,
True.
go to the back.
Yeah, go to the back.
All right, Matt, what you got?
Not taking care of your bike. Generally speaking, like we could make it more specific if we want to be like squeaky bike, squeaky brakes, things like that, But I was thinking more generally like just not taking care of your bike whatsoever as a poorly behaved triathlete or cyclist.
Well, you're just burning money if you aren't taking care of it.
Well, not for nothing. On the cycling end of things, I know that triathletes are more of that lone wolf that like to do their stuff on their own. But if we go out and ride with people that are not taking care of their bike, and sometimes you might have to listen to a bunch of squeaks and whatnot, and that's kind of annoying. But you kind of get a little bit of a pass unless you show up and it's like that every week. But it's the person who has the chronic bike issues, whether it be like poor shifting or dropping chains, or they're getting constant flats because they pull out their tube and you think that, they just got a flat, but then you see their tube and it's got 14 patches on it. It's like, come on, man, just spring for the extra $4 or $5 and buy yourself a tube, or better yet, go tubeless.
You know what's a new annoying thing?
What's that?
Rubbing disc brakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot more common nowadays because almost everything is disc brakes and they rub sometimes.
There's also the notion of like not changing out your brake pads altogether,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you're losing braking power, and that can screw up a group dynamic pretty bad.
Yes.
People can get hurt.
Yes,
So
that is also true.
what would you like to add to that, Matt? Why would that be an annoyance, or why would you consider that a bad behavior?
Well, I mean, anytime you have a really squeaky bike, like I think of like the guy that, really isn't taking care of their chain, and you hear like the squeak all the time. Like we all are listening closely to our bikes because we're all kind of, sensitive to it. Like I'm thinking that this group here amongst us is thinking like, well, bikes really shouldn't make a ton of noise unless there's kind of a problem. And so you hear it on other people's bikes as well. And and you're like, if it's the same person every time, you're like, damn it, Evan, take care of your bike. I mean, I'm not calling Evan out, but he's not here. So
He's not here.
That's fun. I'm going to go the route of social media, and social media adjacent, in my opinion, is Strava. And there is the option of being a poorly behaved human being on there. Now, on the whole, I'm going to give kudos to the Strava community for being very well behaved. You will see some stuff here, some banter every now and then, but it's still a social media. And there's a lot of people that are just up to their eyeballs fed up with social media. We don't need to throw out specific social media platforms, but you know the drill.
Yep.
But from time to time, you will see some poorly behaved athletes on there that get pissed off because somebody took your KOM.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden your ride's getting flagged, even though it was legitimate. So the person
that's crazy.
that gets upset because you stole their KOM, they call it their KOM, that they put in at the fastest time and they beat somebody else, which is perfectly fine. But the fact that you came along and took it from them and they get upset about that, or they think that you're targeting them, or they think that whatever, that person right there needs to, like, I don't know, they maybe need to go find a different platform to play on. I just, that person kind of bugs me. But I've got a
would
few
you call
more.
them like would you call him a Stravassole?
Stravassole for sure.
Stravidiot or a Stravassole?
Stravidiot. Oh, I'm sorry, Stravidiot.
Yeah, Lance and I
are there any videos where people can watch more about Stravidiots?
There might be a video about Stravidiots that Jake made. Yeah.
That Jake and Lance made.
I'm
just Jake.
Jake made the video. I am merely the on-screen talent and target of being a Stravidiot.
Yeah, that was a fun video. So I've got a few more, but that's going to be the first one that I think as a poorly behaved person. All right, Lance.
Oh, okay. So I want to talk about this a little bit because there are times when you should legitimately flag somebody's ride.
Yeah.
What are those?
Okay. I've actually witnessed somebody out at Vancouver Lake sitting behind a vehicle that was pulling them along at like 28, 29, 30 miles an hour, literally pulling this person. And
so they're like motor pacing.
Exactly.
They're practicing riding at speed, but they're drafting a vehicle or a scooter or
100%
something.
fine if you want to do that. Just
that's
don't post
it. That's a training technique.
Don't post it to Strava.
But don't post it to Strava.
Said person did this multiple times, posting it to Strava and like, look at my times. It's like, come on, don't do that.
So that's worthy of being flagged.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Or if you know somebody sat on a truck or a van, that's worthy of being flagged.
So I have one segment down in Southern California where there was a Santa Ana wind. I had a massive tailwind, and there was a lot of traffic that day. And I know that the cars going by me were helping me, and I know that I had a tailwind, and I know that, and I was putting in big watts. I was flying down this pretty long road. but I wasn't drafting per se. But that's always sat in the back of my head: is that something
really
that
good?
that's
Yeah.
legitimate or not? Because down there when the Santa Ana winds blow, those winds can get strong. I mean, they're blowing 20 miles an hour, then you get gusts of 40, 50, 60 miles an hour.
You can freaking
And if you
fly.
have that at your back and you're going downhill, you're going to absolutely bomb down these hills. Now, then you got traffic going by you, which is further exacerbating the
Yeah.
whole issue. So I've always kind of asked myself, because somebody flagged it, and I'm like, I was legitimately doing that. I wasn't sitting on any vehicle's wheel. It was the Santa Ana wind, and there was traffic that day. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to challenge that, because anybody could go out and ride, and traffic conditions are not something that are in your control. Now, if you jump out behind the car and you're following them, that's a whole different can of
Right.
worms, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But if there's just traffic going by you, that happens. As a matter of fact, like when we do our time trials around here, there's traffic there. They're open roads, and you're riding. And sometimes cars will start just blowing by you, and you'll feel that pull you along.
It's like you feel a little like tap on your back
It's
when
like
a car goes by.
couple puffs
Just a
behind you, and
little
you're just like,
puff,
oh,
yeah.
a few less watts and a few more miles per hour, and
Yeah.
that's golden.
Yeah.
So that's legitimate. So would you think that I should just let that go? And I mean, not that at the end of the day, I really don't care. But
Yeah.
I was just thinking to myself that maybe I should challenge that. And I did, and it's kind of stayed. And actually, Strava told me, you'll never have to worry about this again. We see your heart rate monitor, we see your power meter, and we see where you were riding. This is legitimate, and nobody can ever flag it again. I'm like,
it can't be flagged again.
yeah.
Yeah.
So just to the person down there that keeps flagging or was flagging it, just go find the right day, get it done.
This last weekend, when I took all these KOMs up the Chutes River Trail,
Yeah.
There was a tailwind, but my average heart rate was like 172. It
Yeah.
wasn't like I was
Just
I wasn't just riding the wind. I was actually putting in some effort
Yeah.
to go fast.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway,
anything else that you can think of that would be a flaggable offense that the person should be in the right for flagging you?
yeah, if you witness it, if you
Yeah.
witness something that is like
How
bad,
about a person, we'll say 40 plus miles an hour, not humanly possible, for minutes upon minutes of time?
dude, a solo person riding over 40 miles an hour on a flat segment
Uh-huh.
that is not windy, that is suspect.
I would say so for sure. Would you flag that, or would you think that's a flaggable offense? And if you did, would that person be in the right to get upset for you flagging them, especially if they didn't have a power meter running?
Boy, you can see it both ways.
Well-
I could see it both ways. I could see where, yeah, this isn't legit. You're not going to go 40 miles an hour, by yourself on the flats without wind. That's really rare that somebody's going to be able to do that.
Now, there are times though where there's wind, and I've seen solo people that'll put down that effort, and it's just because it's so wind assisted. But if it's not a windy day or it's just a breezy day, and you can go back and check these things, and that's sometimes stuff that I'll look at, because I lose KOMs all the time, and
Sure.
98% of the time it's somebody that just forgot to turn off their Garmin, that was doing like a mountain bike ride, because
Sure.
they're the most egregious when it comes to this. And then they get on the road and they drive home and they're like, whoopsie, forgot to turn off the
Yep.
Strava.
Yeah.
And you get the, so-and-so took your KOM, and they were going 50 miles an hour up this 8% grade, and like, yeah,
Right.
you're in a car,
you're
you
in a
get
car.
flagged. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I could see where that would make me think that is strange enough that I would think about flagging it.
Yeah.
But then if it's legit, you have a chance to respond to it.
Yeah.
However, if I recall on Strava, you don't get a notification that a ride's been flagged.
Correct. You kind of have to go back and stumble across it.
You have to dig through it. Yeah.
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 I've had a few rides flagged, and I didn't know that they
Yeah.
were flagged until.
Same.
Yeah. Anything to add to that, Matt?
I think personally, it's you really only are going to flag something like that if it's like your KOM getting taken, right? I mean, you're not like, or in the case where Jake was like, hey, I saw this guy behind a truck, and then there it was on Strava. That's pretty rare. That doesn't happen to you very often, does it, Jake?
No, it's the only time I've
Can't
ever seen it
imagine
happen.
it
Yeah,
would.
when you actually see it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe, I just don't think that, any of us are, we spend time on Strava, but I don't think we're spending that much time on Strava that we're looking for, people throwing up fake data. It's probably only when they're kind of crossing over some sort of KOM that we're watching, that we're kind of interested in, and something's really egregious, which in all my history, it's been someone was out riding their bike, they threw it in their car, and they drove home. And bam, like I have this one segment that's on out at Vancouver Lake that always gets picked up by cars because someone's, on, and it's basically like, not that I'm tooting my own horn, but like we would probably know the person that would break that, right? Like if Jake is on there and it's like, oh, well, Jake broke this KOM, like, yeah, of course it's Jake, or even like Lance or, whoever it is, maybe even Evan Price. I don't know. He's kind of a scrub, but like.
If he's on his time trial bike.
He's on the time trial bike. It's just like, there's certain things where it's like, yeah, that's legit. And then you see someone that you kind of, what you do, you kind of look at their profile. Is this realistic? Like, did this person just catch the wind and they're going 40 miles an hour on the flats? Like, I mean, that can happen out there. You can get big wind on your back. But if the person normally rides, 10 to 12 miles an hour everywhere, and then they have this KOM, then, and they're, and inevitably their title of their ride is like, afternoon ride or whatever it is. It's like, yeah, I don't think that was legit. And I have very rarely used the flag thing, but I think that those are the times when I'll flag something and be like, well, we'll see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen. If this person argues with it, then whatever, that's fine. But like, it doesn't look right to me. So
yeah, I think you can throw in this whole same category. The person that's out there tearing stuff up on their e-bike and posting it not on an e-bike category, but as a ride, and like kind of patting themselves on the back at how strong and fast they are. As a matter of fact, Lance, you were just talking about this not too long ago about somebody that you were turning yourself inside out to take a KOM from, and it happened to be somebody that was on an e-bike.
I didn't even know he was on an e-bike, and it was just out of reach for me, where I had taken a couple of attempts at it and realized, okay, it's just out of reach. I just need to go harder.
I remember you and I had that conversation. You're talking about this segment, like, God, I can't catch this guy. Do you know who this guy is? And we started talking. I'm like, describe to me the guy's avatar real quick. And you told me what it was. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that dude's on an e-bike. Come on now.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No.
And we went back and looked, and sure enough.
Gosh, dang it. He was on an e-bike. And that being said, I did go out and manage to get it. I got the segment.
Yeah.
Even before I figured out that he was.
It's just one of those things where the e-bikes, they tap out at a certain miles per hour, right? And it was just a grade where it was just, he just tapped out just enough, but it was still kind of within reach of a road bike if you really turn yourself inside out. Lance got it. Good job.
Yeah.
But you know what? That was a good training effect, right?
Yeah, probably. And look at, I'm wearing some blue ribbons just because of that.
Your Woodle, yep.
Yeah, my Woodle.
Awesome. Lance, what's your next one?
When you're out riding in a group and somebody doesn't hold their line, and that can be, I guess, I don't know if that's inexperience or if they just don't care or they don't realize how important it is when you're riding in a group to hold your line. But boy, when guys don't hold their lines, I really try not to get angry about it.
Yeah, there's also that guy. I mean, sometimes even when you're in a race and somebody just straight up takes your line and it's dangerous, that drives me nuts. And then there's that same guy that will show up like he feels like he's entitled to come in and ride with you right there and doesn't hold his line and all of a sudden almost takes you out.
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, there's a psyche to some of these people where, it's your world or their world and you're just living in it, and sometimes that happens. But for the person that just doesn't know better, would you say that that's bad behavior?
No, I wouldn't. If somebody just doesn't know better, or they just don't have enough experience in riding a bike that they're comfortable or have gotten to the point where they can ride a straight line. It seems kind of, when you think about it, I'm riding a bike. I should be able to ride a straight line. It's harder than you think until you're going a certain speed.
Yeah, and you're literally sitting 2 inches off somebody's wheel, and everybody's in close proximity.
Yeah.
And I'd say that it would be a bad behavior if you give that person a little bit of verbal encouragement, not in a mean way, but just letting them, hey, no, can you try and hold your line or, correct whatever they're doing. If they make an attempt to correct that and they hear you and they try and assimilate that, then great. But it's the person that doesn't do that just kind of like gives you like a whatever, dude.
Yeah. Right.
That person,
That's not good behavior.
that's when the group dynamics need to change, and the group needs to work together to drop said person.
Somebody's getting dropped.
Exactly. Have a nice ride home. Awesome. How about you, Matt?
Okay, next one on my list is okay. Well, I'll throw triathletes under the bus because that's fun.
That sounds
Riding in aero bars in a group ride,
Yes.
it's not cool.
Why is
gotta
that
learn.
bad, Matt? I don't understand. It's so much
You're
faster.
away from your brakes. You're
Yes.
away from your it is. It's faster. Less bike control. It's harder to hold your line. So
True.
Yeah, I'll kind of go back to that communication thing. It was the first year that I ever did the Seattle to Portland ride, and there was a guy that jumped on. Nobody knew him, and the guy could not hold his line to save his life. He would brake erratically inside the group, and it's like, all right, do it once, we'll correct you. Do it again, and then a third and a fourth and a fifth time. I'm going to have a severe problem with you. And he was that guy. And I told everybody else, I'm like, I can't have this guy around me anymore. He's going to hurt somebody. We worked together to
kind of lose him.
yeah, whoopsie. Sorry, pal.
Sorry we went 800 watts up this little rise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was all over the place. It was bad stuff. Now, Matt, when you and I first started riding together, the bulk of your rides you did on the TT bike, but Matt is super predictable, super conscious of bad situations potentially happening, and he just knows how to ride that bike extremely well, and he's fast.
I don't have a problem with. It's weird because like I say, aero bars in a group. What I really mean is like you're in the front of the group down in your bars or whatever. Like if you want to do. I think you have to feel the group. I think if I was to show up to a group ride where I didn't know the group that well, I would not show up with my aero bike. I would show up with a road bike or something like that. If I was to show up like with Jake and I'm like, hey, I know Jake, we go ride all the time. Like I'm going to pick whatever bike that I need to pick for that particular training day. Might be my aero bike or whatever. And I might even need to spend some time in the TT bars. And I'm just going to communicate that like, hey, I need to do this block over here. I need to do whatever the workout is, like 4 by 10 minutes in the aero bars. I would probably just communicate that to you. Like, I need to be in the bars for this particular point in time. And I'm not going to do it when I'm in between like 3 people. Like that's still like, I'm not getting down in the bars when I'm trying to kind of like work with or inside of a group of people, because I go down, you're taking down the person behind you. And I think that's the big thing that we all fear is the group dynamics that way. So.
Sure.
I think we've all been in situations where that has happened.
Yep.
In a group ride where one guy goes down and it takes down the 3 guys behind him.
Yep.
Yes.
Sucks. All right. The next one from yours truly would be back in Strava land. The person who is finding it necessary to manipulate their data so that they can get themselves a few more KOMs.
Yeah, how do you do that?
I don't know how you do it, but I know it can be done, and I know people who have done it, and I know people who have been very, very severely pissed off because they lost KOMs to this person. Called said person out, and it was a big scuttlebutt. So
Really?
yeah.
Wait, so you're saying like they're going to take their data file, and then adjust it?
Yeah.
And then upload it?
Correct.
Are you calling me out?
Matt, you're the only one smart enough on this screen
No, I could-
right now to do that.
Oh, I could totally do that. I've always thought like, it would be fun to write some programs to do all these fun things to cheat, but I have not done that. The only thing I've done.
Yeah. Just to be
Yeah,
fun.
I should do it. Actually, it would be fun to like snag some of your KOMs, Lance.
Yeah, that would be funny.
If I was going to pick on someone, it would probably be one of you guys.
It'd be me and Jake.
Ooh, what does
That would be
Evan?
hilarious.
What does Evan have? Does he have one that he really cares about?
That went out at Vancouver
Yeah.
Lake.
Yeah, he's got one at Vancouver Lake. Yeah.
If you
Oh,
could
that
do
would be
something
Where he
like,
averaged like 27.5 miles an hour for 14 miles or
something
something.
like that, yeah. We've
That'd be fun.
Seriously.
tried taking stabs at that with multiple people, and it's just like we can't even touch
We
them.
can't do it.
But it kind of goes back to that video on GCN that we were talking about. Like Cy was on the time trial bike, and then a few other castmates were on road bikes. And I think the last one was a group of 4.
A group
And-
of 4 on road bikes
Yeah.
taking on a single person on a time trial bike.
and they couldn't touch him. Cy still beat him.
Wow.
Now the group of 4, they dropped one of the guys pretty early, and so it really was only like 3
Three.
guys. But still, they were working hard. couldn't do it. I think he still beat him by, I'm just guessing here, but I think it was something like 20 or 30 seconds. All by himself.
All by himself.
Yeah, that's just the difference between a road bike and a time trial bike.
Slippery.
Yep. That's why you triathletes are so damn fast. So, anyway, that was mine. Data manipulation.
I didn't even know
guy.
that you could do that. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of the program or the app or the website that the person was using, but people called him out, and he denied, and people started showing him facts, and they were digging into the data. It was just a big scuttlebutt, and I just kind of sat on the sidelines of like, who needs to seriously go into one of these websites just to give themselves a KOM? I'm like, what really matters is a road race. And that person shows up to a road race and gets their backside handed to them, or a mountain bike race or any kind of race. That's where you prove yourself.
There's no hiding on the race course. Yeah.
So I don't think it's funny. I mean, I love Strava. I think it's great. I think it's fun to go out there and play, and I think everybody should like treat it accordingly. Like it's just a game. But at the same time, like there's some of these efforts that I totally respect, and there's some of these segments that I totally respect where you're not going to get wind assistance. You're not going to get, well, maybe you can have a car helping you out a little bit, but
or it's a circle, or it's an out and back where you're not going to.
There are definitely segments that are more coveted. I'm not talking about the segment that's like 7 seconds long through this section between these two stops.
No.
I don't care about that, but there's some out there that are pretty legit, and I have a lot of respect for those, and I have a lot of respect for the people that have the KOMs on those.
Yeah.
There's some big efforts.
Absolutely.
So don't mess with those. What's your next one, Lance?
I'm out already.
You're out? I thought you had this massive list.
Yeah, a massive list of 3, and you stole one of mine.
Which one did I steal?
When it's appropriate to flag another rider.
All right.
Obviously, we're too focused on Strava. I'm a Stravaholic, and it's
a little bit.
My name's Lance Hepler, and I'm a Stravaholic.
Would you be sitting on 200-something days of consecutive riding if there were no such thing as Strava?
No.
Nobody was looking?
You know, it's dumb. I get out on a ride, and all I think about is, I wonder if I'll be the fastest one on this segment today. Oh, I wonder who else rode this segment today. Maybe I should make. Oh, this is dumb. It's so dumb. But it's like, it's my life purpose at the moment.
But it keeps you fit. It keeps you challenged. It gives you purpose when you're on your rides.
Yeah.
You will build your training program sometimes around a segment that you can go out and try and attack.
Sometimes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
When I went out to the Chutes River Trail, I only looked at there was one 11-mile segment. And I knew that it was roughly 11 miles, and it was on the way out on this gravel road. And so I got a mile into it and realized, oh, the wind's at my back. I'll just go hard for the next 10 miles. Let me just go hard for the next 10 miles and just see what happens.
Awesome. Matt, do you have any more?
That was the day before a race, wasn't it, Lance?
Yeah, it was totally dumb. You know what? It was the day before the race. I rode the wind all the way out there, and then I had to turn around and ride into the wind back.
Yep.
So I averaged like 12 and a half miles an hour coming all the way back. And then I got in my car, drove for 2 more hours to where the race was held, which is going to be held the next day at sunset. And I rode the whole course.
Yep.
I did a
preview
whole
the course, man.
I did a whole lap preview of the course, and it was a 13-mile lap, which was not easy. And man, I'm super glad I actually pre-rode the course because I knew what was coming, where the tight turns were, where the difficult spots were. There were a couple of black diamond sections on this course. It wasn't your normal just cross-country race course where it's mostly flat with a couple little climbs. There were some hairball sketchy downhills and a 26% sustained climb.
Wow.
Yeah. Matter of fact, on the pre-ride, I lost traction and had to walk it.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I had to walk up the climb. And so during the race, all I could think about was stay on your bike, keep your momentum going, keep the traction, so that I didn't end up falling off the bike and have to walk up it, because I guarantee you people had to walk up it.
Yeah.
So
tell me about the course again. It was how many miles?
There was a 8-mile loop. There was a 13-mile loop and an 8-mile loop.
Okay, so you did the 13-mile loop twice?
I did the Cat ones did the 13-mile loop and the 8-mile loop. The Cat Do's did the 8-mile loop twice.
Okay, gotcha.
And the 8-mile loop didn't include the
sketchy.
the Black Diamond stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
So, yeah.
Cool.
So
Matt, what was your next one?
Here's my last one before I've got to take off to cross country practice. How about people that litter when they're out biking or running? Does that not just drive you crazy?
yes.
Littering, like they take like their bar, or whatever, they eat their bar and they toss the wrapper. Like, you're killing me.
I just shove them, like, if I don't get it in my pocket, I shove it like up my shorts. That sounds bad. I just shove it like up my leg, up my like.
But that's like that's a biker extra pocket, right? Like anything in the thigh area, like that little, that's like everyone else's extra pocket. I think we all do that. I even, when I'm walking around the house and I have bike stuff on, I use my phone, like my phone's half like up there half the time.
Right.
And my kids are like, "Why is your phone up your leg like that?" I'm like, "This is where I put stuff." I know I'm not alone. I know you guys do the same thing.
You're absolutely right.
That's a good one. I think that's probably pretty high on the list, to be honest with you. See that kind of often every time.
Littering.
Yeah. Just like, don't do that.
Littering, not
cool. My next one, this happened again when I lived in the good old Southern California. I don't know if this ever came through up here. I don't know if Strava ever put any stop gaps in place so that this wouldn't happen. But there was a guy who found it necessary to go to all of the big parks. He rode all the different segments and whatnot, and then when he was done, he would go back and he would flag every single segment as hazardous. So all of the leaderboards would be erased, and literally you would go and do a ride that maybe had like 100 segments, and it was 0.
He'd flag every segment.
Yeah, and he went to all of the big mountain bike parks, and he flagged everything.
Oh, okay. What? Why? Was he just an angry man? Was he just a bitter person?
Don't know. This was this was a big problem. It was probably back in, I'm going to guess like 2013, 2014, somewhere in that range. And it was just, it got really bad to the point where people started making new segments, and at the end of them it was like, please don't flag this, or this isn't hazardous. Those would get flagged. And everybody was putting in all of these things to Strava. It took them the longest time to get that all sorted out, because I don't think that they ever thought that anybody would do something like that. But
right.
I've seen people flag segments just because they don't like that segment being close to some place, or maybe it's by their house, or they don't like cyclists, or I don't know how people have stumbled on
a
Strava.
cyclist buzzed somebody and that somebody knew about Strava and went on and found it. And
I totally get it when a segment, and that's maybe another one you could put as like a subcategory. People who create segments that stop right at stop signs, or go through intersections, or go through stoplights, that drives me nuts. Don't do that. That's bad.
There's lots of segments that go through stoplights and through stop signs.
Yeah, back when I cared a little bit more, I would actually go and I would flag those, and then I would create a new segment and just put behind that safe, so that people wouldn't try and take a KOM, because like, but it ends right here. I don't want to get you killed, pal.
Right.
I'm going to give you a good like 50 to 100 meters to slow down, or just,
don't blow through.
Exactly.
It's like GCN, on their YouTube channel, they talk about going out on group rides. No, it wasn't GCN. It was Dylan.
Okay.
Dylan Johnson?
Yep.
Dylan Johnson. When Backwards Hat Dylan comes on, Backwards Hat Dylan is Dylan Johnson's alter ego.
Yep.
That says all the dumb stuff that we're all thinking.
Sure.
He says, well, what about when I'm on the group ride and we're all going to chase down, we're all going to sprint for the stop signs. Well, we don't sprint for stop signs at dialed cycling. We sprint for stop ahead signs.
Exactly.
So that you have time to stop before when the stop sign comes up. Because you don't want to sprint for stop signs.
Yeah. Not safe.
Dylan. Backwards Hat Dylan.
Yeah. All right. Got no more Lance, huh? You're all out?
Yeah, everything else is cool in my book.
Matt, nothing else from your end? You got to head out to old cross-country practice?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. I'm going to head out, guys. Good to see you.
All right.
We'll talk next week.
Thanks,
Take care, Matt. See you,
all right.
bud.
Later, guys.
Bye. So it's just going to be myself and Lance here. Got to fix the little screen here for the folks on
YouTube.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's just me.
Yeah, but you know what? Watch this. Hey, oh,
it's just Jake. there we go.
Push the wrong button. I've got another one. So when you're riding and you're in a group and you're supposed to have everybody stay together, somebody gets a flat and person just looks at you and said, see you later. And you're supposed to be riding with everybody.
You're riding with everybody.
That's bad behavior right there. When you're more concerned about you just maintaining a certain speed or finishing like a big ride. my specific example, which I've talked about before, was I was doing Seattle to Portland the following year after the whole TT bike guy. And it was one of those situations where we had a group of guys. Justin Wagner, who's been on the show a bunch of times, was in there as well. And he and I actually worked together to build this group and to get everybody set. And I had SAG support for us. My wife was driving down. She had everybody's wheels and food and everything that we would need was in the car. And she was leapfrogging down. So we're about 30 miles into this thing. And I've told this story before, so I apologize if you've heard this before and you don't want to hear it again. Just press pause for a second or skip forward a few seconds here. But anyway, what happened was I got a flat. There was a guy in front of me that didn't call it a pothole. Maybe that's another guy, too, that we can put on the list.
That doesn't point out stuff when you can't see. Yeah.
So I didn't get my back tire over it in time. Pinch flatted, and one of the guys that was riding with us, that was a part of this whole coordination effort, looked at me and saw that I had a flat, and then he just said, "See ya." Kept going, and I was towards the back of the group because I just rotated towards the back because we were in a group of maybe 20 or 30 people, and we were flying. So I get this flat, and the group just rides away from me. I'm like, well, that sucks. Hopefully they'll turn around. He didn't say anything to anybody, and then it was probably 3, 4, 5 miles down the road. I believe it was Justin Wagner who said, "Hey, where's Jake?"
What happened to Jake?
And this other guy goes, "Oh, he flatted a while ago. It was probably like 15, 20 minutes ago." He's like, "What? Why didn't anybody say anything?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know. I just figured we'd keep going." He's like, "Really?"
Oh, no.
So
I think I know who this is.
Yeah, I went as fast as I could to change the tires. Still took me about 5 minutes to get everything seated and set and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, that's an eternity.
Yeah, and I was dead set on catching them. So I'm trying to fly up as hard as I possibly can, trying to hopefully find some people to work with. And there was a couple people that would jump on and then they would fall off, and they just couldn't hold those watts. I time trialed for almost 50 miles, and I finally caught up to them. So I catch up to them, and I look over, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, what's up? What gives?" Well, the only reason why I caught them was there was another person in the group who got a flat, so they decided to.
They stopped for that guy.
They stopped for that guy, and I caught up to him, and I'm like, "What happened?" He's like, "Oh, sorry." I'm like, and the same guy did the same thing to somebody else the year before too, so I should have known better. So I guess shame on me there. But the net of the story is if you are going out on a ride and you're working together as a group, you stay together as a group, and you don't do anything other than that unless it's specified and agreed upon before the start of the ride. So don't be that guy. That guy was a bad behavior guy. So
Yeah, cool.
Evan, do you have anything?
Evan, we got Evan back.
Evan is back. He's done with the kids.
What I miss? Was there anything I missed there?
You finished your water aerobics class with the purple-haired grandmas?
Yes, exactly. I finished my water aerobics class. I'm over here. I was actually in it myself. I don't coach them. I just joined one.
You were just in your water aerobics.
This is why I can't ever make a mid pack in the swim field, is because I just do water aerobics the whole time. But yeah.
So Evan.
Yes.
Missed all of the stuff because we did this kind of hot seat stuff.
Yeah.
So just to recap real quick, for the top 10 list that we've come up with so far, we've got 9. So maybe Evan can add us
I get to cap
the
off.
10th one.
Get to be closer.
Is there anything off the top of your head that really bothers you in terms of bad behavior for cyclists and triathletes?
Oh, I've got a lot with triathletes. There's
Throw it out there.
definitely
Maybe this can be number 10, and we can have some bonus stuff if he doesn't bring up something.
There's some real transition zone faux pas that are and Lance will remember this. When you are setting up your transition zone, there is a shared space that is, if there's one good thing that comes out of COVID, I hope that the 6-foot rule applies to transition zones too.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Because
you put down a towel.
Yes.
And you put your shoes and your helmet and your stuff on the towel.
Yeah.
And you don't touch anybody else's towel.
You don't. And usually if you've got 4 people, 5 people next to you, you all coordinate. Okay, my towel goes on this side of the wheel. Your towel goes on this side. We got our space. You get the guy who runs in 5 minutes before transition closes.
Right.
Throws his towel and his, bag from the hotel basically on there too, and his road bike too, just in case, and a unicycle maybe. And then just screws the entire system. And I've seen this happen too. As I'm walking out to the swim start, a guy will bump into somebody else's bike, knock it off the rack, and then just leave it.
What?
And just walk away. I did see a guy do this once. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I actually worked for the race organization that I remember that ad, and I literally looked at the guy and I was like, "You're gonna want to go and pick that back up." I like that. But yeah, that's
So
the
have you ever
biggest triathlon.
So
faux
you've
pas.
got the rack, you got the little A-frame rack with the
Yep.
crossbar, and you got your saddle hooked up under
Yep.
there. Then there's a designated spot where everybody kind of agrees to put the towels down. Have you
Uh-huh.
ever? And let's say it's kind of full. Has anybody ever come in and like kind of parted the seas and
Yeah.
pushed things over and just hammered those things right in there?
So usually you have a number that assigns you to a space,
Gotcha.
but not always, because in local, and you've probably seen
And
local
small
race-
local races, no.
Usually it's kind of a find your spot thing.
Yeah.
Or they give you a row, which I like. So it's like, hey, you're row C. That's where you get that happening. I have seen, and there are people that, I mean, they will like, I always like to have the end of the rack.
Right. 'Cause
So
you
I will
run the least amount.
I will shove myself to the end of the rack, and I'll even shrink my space if I can get to the end of the rack. I've had people move my bike from there, scoot it over,
in,
and then
take
fit
the end.
theirs, and like watch them do it. I'm like, really, really, we're gonna do this right now.
So what's appropriate for you to respond to that?
Oh, I mean, just violence is the. No, I'm joking, but that's. I mean, like, oh, that's the triathlon world is so sometimes like you really want to be friends with it. It's a little different from the road racing cycling world. Where could you imagine in a road race if there was like our team had like their rack up, and like some jackwagon came over and like knocked over somebody's bike and placed theirs there, like there would be firm words in the road
Yeah.
race. In the triathlon world, it would be like something passive aggressive, like, "Oh man, there's not much space around here, is there? You know, I see a spot right over there," and that'd probably be about as far as it would go. But no, I was a road racer
That's a good
before I
one.
was a triathlete.
That's a good one.
We didn't cover that. We wanted some triathlon specific stuff. So that gets us to 10. We hit our mark. We hit our quota. Any bonus items that you can bring up for us, Evan?
Did you guys already talk about guys? Me and David were talking about this, and even though David disagrees with me, guys in cycling world who wear pro cycling kits and don't happen to be on that team.
That's a faux pas. I don't know if that's a
didn't-
bad behavior.
We didn't talk about that.
Oh God, I'd even put that down as a bad behavior just when it comes to dress. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
no,
else?
We didn't talk about that.
So the ones that
Yeah.
we went through so far is the snot rockets. So you're
Oh, yeah.
blowing snot rockets, and you're
Yeah.
like, if you got people behind you, just don't do it.
Yeah.
No, Lance doesn't. He thinks that it's his cupping hand that catches about 10%
I go like
of it.
this and cut and catch all my own snot.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it's not true.
Not taking care of your bike, causing you to have breakdowns,
Yeah, that's me.
noise issues, just at
Multiple flat tires.
Yeah.
That was Cassie, not me.
So that teeters. There's some stuff that teeters on there. If it's a one-time thing, that's not necessarily bad behavior. That's just bad luck. But
It's
if you're
unprepared.
the perpetual guy that comes out that's always getting in the flat, that pulls out the tire and it's got
Anybody got a
Yeah.
CO2?
Yeah.
Anybody got
or
a CO2?
bad. Oh God, that has been me.
Who's got a tube?
That's-
Anybody got a
that's been
tube
me.
here?
No, okay. I usually have the two tubes, but the CO2 is my thing where I'll take a CO2 out. I did this once on a ride, and I used the CO2.
And it's still in
It
your
was already
bag.
used. It was in the bag. I was
It
like,
in the
what was I even thinking? Like,
Okay. Jake and I made a YouTube video about essential things you should take with you road biking, and I brought
a full CO2.
I brought in. I just took my saddlebag right off the bike and brought it in.
Yeah,
It had a
use CO2.
it had a UCO2
Yep.
in it. I blew it.
That's bad behavior. That is
was
poor
bad
behavior.
behavior.
Yeah.
So for me, whenever I use stuff, like whether it be a tube, CO2, or anything that's disposable that's now done and dispensed, I never put that back in my saddlebag. It goes in my jersey pocket.
Smart. I used to do that with flats too. Like if I have a flat tube, I just put it in the back.
That's
jersey
exactly
pocket.
where I put
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And
Yep.
then I generally, as a rule of thumb, don't patch my tubes. I probably could. There's some stuff where it's just, I don't use tubes anymore anyway. But if in the past, if I had
Yeah.
just like a tiny little pinhole prick, I mean, you could definitely put a patch on that. I just didn't want to run into a situation where there's a slow leak, or maybe it flats again, or the
Yeah.
patch fails, and all of a sudden the group's having to pull over for me because
Again.
yeah, I just don't. The perpetual bad habit
Right.
of like not taking care of your stuff, or being so cheap that it's at a cost detriment to the group that you're riding with. If you want to deal with that on your own dime, that's fine. If your own dime and time is like that's what you want to do, so be it. But if you want to come out and do group rides and you don't want the group to leave you, have good stuff.
Well, something else just came up. I just thought of this.
Bonus question?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Not bonus question, but bonus type. Is it bad behavior to roll up on somebody and just draft him without saying anything?
Yes, absolutely. You need to at least say something.
Because this happens to me. Not
People
a
need-
lot.
Do it to you, or you do it to people?
People do it to me.
No, you need to say something. Say, hey. anything.
usually if
That's
I
so socially awkward.
it's like, I'm out riding by myself. I see somebody else riding by myself, and I pass them, and then they sprint to jump on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm cool about it. Oftentimes, I'll laugh and joke as I'm going by. I'm like, jump on, good luck,
Yeah.
And then if they jump on, super, sit back there and go. But when they
Sneak up on you?
they sneak up on me or don't say anything.
Yeah, because you don't even know they're back. I mean, like, if you go to
Yeah.
do anything suddenly,
Right.
and you haven't noticed that they're back there, yeah, that's
Well,
just weird.
Tell me this: for the times that you've had that happen and you see the person's back there, they didn't announce themselves, but they're sitting there sucking your wheel for a few minutes. Every one of us at this table, I know, will all of a sudden start to turn up the watts a little bit.
I might ramp it up just a little bit.
And a little bit more, and a little bit
And a
more.
little
Like,
bit
all right, where's
more.
their snapping point?
Yeah, a little bit more.
I just saw Dove's comment from a while ago. What was the
Oh, we were talking about Boise.
voice of the Z sound? Yeah, it's Boise, isn't it?
No.
Oh,
it's
that's
just-
not it? Is
That's
it Boise
wrong.
with a Z?
It's Boise.
Oh, I apologize,
It's
Dove.
pronounced Boise, according to
Boise.
Dove. Yeah.
Boise.
Boys E.
Not Boise.
Boise.
It's not Boise.
Boise does sound wrong. That
People
sounds
are
wrong.
like, stop saying that
I know,
word.
I
yeah.
love you,
It's like
Idaho.
nails on a chalkboard.
So yeah, I think that you should announce yourself. And I
Unannounced
think
drafters.
you should put that in the same bucket of the people that don't wave. I mean, just say hi. It's a cycling community. We're good people. I don't know too many cyclists who are not great, exceptional people. Take a second to get to know them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I did have a cyclist tell me once, though, that he doesn't wave at triathletes
What?
because he doesn't consider them cyclists.
Dude, I
He was
wave
firm on that. too.
anybody on a bike. Is some
Yeah.
some homeless dude wearing a backwards hat on
Oh,
a,
yeah, wave
on
to
a
him.
beater.
Absolutely.
I still wave at them too.
Yeah.
They're a person.
Hey, man, that's like,
yeah.
who was it? Oh, God. The Colombian, very good professional cyclist who had the rural guy ride up on him on like a cruiser.
Oh, it was Rigoberto Urán.
Yeah, Rigoberto Urán. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Like,
he's riding.
Yeah.
Wasn't he on his time trial bike?
he was on his time trial bike.
He's on
but
his
some-
time trial bike doing some workout,
Oh,
going
they're-
through rural Colombia.
Yeah.
And
some rural guy on a cruiser.
some kid on a cruiser with a backpack on.
Yeah.
Hopped on his wheel, and Rigo had a follow car that had a video.
Yeah.
And so they caught it on video.
Really?
This guy rides up on him and sits on his wheel for
Yeah.
like I don't know how many miles.
On a
and-
cruiser while
Yes.
he's getting after it?
Guy was
Yeah.
probably putting out 450 watts the entire
Yes.
time,
Did they
I'm sure.
Pull him over and sign him?
He gave him a bike.
He gave him a
Seriously?
Yeah, gave him a bike. Yeah.
That's freaking
It's an awesome story.
Yes, it is very cool.
This is the
need to
cool
go
part about
find-
it's like I've always thought about that whenever I see in the Pacific Northwest we got people who I think probably travel quite a bit and live homeless with their bike as their main means of
Yeah.
transport. There was once we were driving up to Mount Hood. There was a homeless guy riding his bike, and I'm not saying he had a tent on, so I assumed he was homeless, with probably 80 pounds on his back
Right.
on this cruiser going up the highway up there. I was like, I bet if you threw that guy on a road bike
He might be able to do
and
something.
like put him in Lycra, he would be fast. Like that guy's quad. Like I'm looking at his calves. I'm like, this guy's got tree trunks for calves. And I mean, talk about a good way to like recruit your next
Yeah.
generation of cyclists. Is
Yeah,
just
it's
like,
fantastic.
hey man, if you love a
Absolutely right.
cruiser and ride it fast.
All right, any more bonus pieces?
No, I liked ending on the Rigoberto Urán story.
That's a good
That's an
story.
awesome story. Yeah, talk about good behavior. That's a good behavior
That is-
story.
that is a good
Good on you,
behavior.
Rigo. Yeah, there you go.
All right, let's jump into one last thing. Lance, start us off.
I'm racing actually with some teammates this weekend. The first gravel race of the season is happening, the Shasta Gravel Hugger. It's in Northern California near Mount Shasta. Last year, it was the first year of it. They had a freak storm during the race, and half of it was in the snow and ice. And the weather doesn't look too good this weekend down there, so I hope it's good.
I thought that it was supposed to
Shasta's
be a
up
good
there.
good weather this week, and that's
It's
why I
at
threw that
altitude.
team ride. I'm doing that team ride if it's just
Yeah,
me by
it
myself.
might be good up here, but
Yeah.
this is like 6 hours
somebody
south
else
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
was
it's
telling me
way
that-
way south. That's south of the Grants Pass.
Well,
so
I know,
yeah,
but somebody
yeah.
was saying that we might have some weather here, some
Oh,
possible
really?
rain, but
Yep.
Did it blow from that direction? Do you know?
I have
or-
no idea.
All right.
We'll find out.
I don't know where weather
But,
goes. Saturday is 50% chance, so coin toss.
Chris Surratt is racing with me. Gary Cornelius teammates are racing with me. I think there might be some other teammates I'm probably forgetting, but
Did,
actually there's some big names that are coming to it. Peter Stetna is coming.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
seriously?
Clara Hansinger is racing.
Oh,
Yep.
Peter's going out there for
Peter's going out there for it.
that? Dang. Is Dylan Johnson going to be there?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, see if he wants to be on the podcast. If you do,
I'll ask
Seriously,
Peter if he wants to be on the
shoot him a
podcast.
message.
All
there you
right.
go.
Yeah.
If you do race Dylan Johnson this year too, you have to ask.
I'm doing the short one. I'm doing the 62-mile version, not the
But we
100-mile
talked about
version.
that. That's good for you. It's
It
good
is
for
better for
your race preparation. It's good for you as a person because you're not going to fall apart. And that's your wheelhouse. Go out there and do really well.
That's what I'm trying to do.
You're being soft. I'm
Yeah.
joking.
Absolutely right.
Evan, one last thing, bud.
On March 13th, I think is the date we settled on, we are going to do a little time trial up Washington Larch. Anybody is welcome to come out and time trial yourself up it. It'll be morning-ish. I'll
What
probably
was the
post
date
up
again?
what time. March 13th. That's a
Saturday.
Saturday, not this upcoming Saturday, the Saturday after that.
It's the Saturday of the night that we changed the
Change the
clocks,
clocks.
Yes.
back.
Did we come up with a cool name for it yet?
No, we spring forward. I'm sorry, we fall forward.
Race the clock, beat the clock, forward
Something
the
like
clock,
that, yeah.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. But anybody who wants to come out, ride up that. I'm gonna extend the ride out quite a bit further. Anybody who wants to go ride hills after that. So, yeah,
Cool.
I think I'm racing the next day.
yeah, I know you are. So you'll be
Yeah.
there, right? Okay,
What
cool.
race is that?
There's a mountain bike race up in Seattle.
Of course.
Yeah.
So Lance is coming, so I can blow all of his matches on every hill between
Well, like-
Camas and Washougal.
Well, like the 50-year-olds I raced there this weekend, they're like, dude, we're super happy to have you here. Make sure you come up and get to the rest of these races. And I'm like, well, actually, mountain bike races start in Oregon in a couple weeks. I'm going to be doing those. And they're like, oh, you can race there on Saturday and up here on Sunday. Anyway, we'll see.
It's a lot
Guess
of
what
driving.
Lance is
That's
going
a
to
lot
be
of
doing?
driving on a Saturday Sunday combo, though.
Lance
Isn't it?
doesn't care.
That's like what 10 hours of driving, though. It could be right from Seattle to Central Oregon.
Yeah.
That means you're gonna. What time's the race gonna end? Like you're gonna be.
I'm trying not to double up
your
on
whoop
weekends.
is gonna not like you very much.
Oh, no, I know. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
I way overdid it yesterday,
Yeah.
and I had an awesome recovery this morning. Go figure.
Nice.
So I slept well. I saunaed last night. I ate well. I guess I just had a good
all-round
recovery.
vibe.
Yeah.
That's good.
So that's it.
Awesome.
Oh, I one last thing again.
That was.
I
two
overtook
last things.
your
That was 3 last things.
Jake.
What, you took over? Oh, you took
Only
over
one.
Evan's?
Took Evan.
Gotcha.
Yeah. What was Matt's?
He left.
Oh,
He's
okay.
gone.
His one last thing is I got to go to.
I got to go to
Cross
cross
practice,
country
yeah.
practice.
I think they have a race on Wednesday. That's his last thing.
Gotcha. My one last things is today is my 6-year anniversary of landing in the Great Pacific Northwest in this little town called Camas, Washington.
And all our lives were changed.
Nah.
6 years. That
6
was
years ago today.
2015.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was when I moved here, and I generally like to do a ride. So I'm looking outside right now because we started a little bit late today, and I was going to try and get out of here a little early, but I think I've got enough time, enough light to get out there.
You
It
do.
was sunny this morning. It's a little cloudy now, but it's like 55 degrees. It's like beautiful.
Yeah,
Go.
Yeah, I think I might do
Yeah.
that. So, and the other one
looks
last
good
thing that I'm
still.
going to do for the lab team stuff here, the dialed stuff, is that we've got 3 things on the calendar this week for Strava. Invites for you, if you will. The first one's going to be Tuesday night, which those of you on the YouTubes that see this before it
Oh,
comes out
yeah.
on Wednesday.
You'll already miss it.
Yeah. Well, you can still kind of catch this, but tomorrow night will be our second to last Zwift ride for the season, for the trainer season, scheduled ride, that is. We might have some more that pop up if we get some bad weather and still want to maintain some training. So that will be the second to last one. So if you're hearing this for the first time on the podcast, comes out on Wednesday, the following week will be the last one. If you want to join us, just go to the Dialed Cycling group on Strava to get the invites for that. On Wednesday, we're going to do a night gravel ride.
Very fun.
This will be the third one we have done this this winter, which I would have wanted to do more, but the weather just had never really cooperated too
True.
much. So we're going to get out. It's supposed to be semi-warm. It's going to be not cloudy, and we should go out there and have a good time.
I should be there for that.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to tell you. That 46 tooth on that
Yeah.
drivetrain,
Yeah.
spectacular.
Yes, it was a good call.
It plugged that little hole that I was having between those 2 gear ratios. I think
you
it
went
was
to 42 up to a 46.
No, I went from 42 to
42 to
46.
46.
Yeah, exactly. And that solved the problem. And I did my little speed test going downhill, and I was comfortably pedaling at 35 miles an hour, whereas before my cadence was pretty high.
Yeah.
And I probably, because I didn't want to do this into the wind, because I was going into the wind, I didn't want to kill myself right at the beginning of the ride. I probably could have easily pedaled up to 37, 38, 39 miles an hour. So that right there was the trick. Now, you lose a little bit on some of the steep stuff, and I only have a 52. That sounds huge, and it is huge. Lance has a 52
I have a
on his.
52 on mine.
You lose a little bit there, but I didn't notice it to be too egregious. When I was out in Boise doing that ride, there was pretty steep sections in there, and I looked down, I'm like, all right, I'm using that big ring because I was riding through snow and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but I'm not killing myself. My watts
Still
were
worked.
320, something like that, and it
Yeah.
wasn't for super long periods of time, but that was sustainable for me. So thank you, Chris Surratt, for that recommendation, and thank you for helping me set that up, Lance.
Yeah, more of that will come out. Jake and I are making a video about our gravel bikes, a review of the BMC Oars.
Yep.
And we'll talk all
Got
about.
a bunch of video on.
Yeah,
on that
we
ride too,
got
so.
some video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that'll be one of the last things that come out is we'll have a video out very soon on the BMC Oars.
Yep.
And then the last ride that we have coming up is going to be this coming Saturday. We will be doing an open training ride. So folks that are interested, that are here local, if you want to come out and ride with the team, we are going to do an open team ride. And just do note that we're going to be keeping a pretty solid pace on this, and we will have a couple regroups, but if you get severely dropped, make sure that you have your Strava set up so that you've got some route directions on there. That's it. That's all my last stuff. Anything else?
I think that's good.
Negative.
Cool. All right. We really appreciate everybody listening and watching on the YouTubes, on the interwebs. We will be back for more Dialed Podcast next week. Until then, we thank you for watching, and bye for now.